In this lecture, we're going to learn about service workers. We glossed over them during the installation of the PWA plugin. I want to dive into what service workers are and why they're important. They play a huge role in how our app will behave offline. That might sound strange, but it's completely possible for an app to be usable offline. There are some limitations with offline support. Let's get into it. Let's address the first question you may have. What is a service worker? A service worker is a JavaScript file that runs in the background. It is mainly separate from the application code. Because of that, service workers can run parallel to an application. What exactly does that mean? It means our application code and service workers can't block each other. JavaScript is a language that runs on a single thread. If we write synchronous code, we'll experience blocking. This is resolved by using callbacks or promises, aka asynchronous code. Let's say we had a synchronous operation. This means anything else won't be able to run until the operation is complete. However, there is an exception to this problem: service workers. A service worker will not be blocked from running even if a synchronous operation is taking place in our application. It's because they run on a separate thread in the background. The main benefit is that neither script will block each other from performing tasks. Our application will continue to run smoothly while a service worker is running. We can perform a couple of tasks with service workers. We can cache files, push background notifications, and sync the application. Service workers are where we can write a majority of progressive features. There are some limitations with service workers you should be aware of. Firstly, they don't have access to the DOM. We can't add, remove, or update elements in the documents. Service workers aren't meant to update the document. That job should be left to the main application. Secondly, there's limited browser support for service workers. It's a relatively new feature. Adoption is slowly progressing, but you shouldn't completely rely on service workers if users are on an old device. With that being said, let's try creating a service worker. There are two approaches to creating a service worker. The first approach is to create the file manually. The second approach is to use Workbox. In the resource section of this lecture, I provide a link to this library. Workbox is a library developed by Google. It'll help us with creating a service worker. Believe it or not, creating service workers can be a tedious task. Rather than attempting to create a service worker, we're going to use Workbox. It makes the process a whole lot easier. Luckily, Workbox is configured with the PWA plugin. Our job is to register the service worker from our script. In your editor, open the main.js file. I recommend registering the service worker as early as possible. We don't have to use a lifecycle hook. We can register it immediately. At the top of the file, import a function called register SW from the virtual::PWA register package. Next, call this function after the import statements. Lastly, pass in an object with a property called immediate. Its value will be true. The register SW function will do most of the heavy lifting. It'll load and register the service worker. The immediate property will instruct the function to register it immediately. Otherwise, it'll wait until the window has loaded. For our case, we do not need to wait for the rest of the app to load. That's it. The service worker should appear in our script. Let's refresh the page in the browser. In the developer tools, switch to the application panel. The error from the previous lecture is gone. That's great. Let's try testing offline mode. Switch to the network panel. There's an option for going offline. Select this option. After doing so, refresh the page. The page does not get cached. What's going on? By default, the Vite PWA plugin will configure our app to work offline. So, why isn't it working? The reason is simple. Vite disables caching by default. Without caching, our app will not work offline. To get around this problem, we must build the project and preview the builds. Switch over to the command line. Let's turn off the server. Next, run the npm run build command. Afterward, run the npm run preview command. The preview command will create a server for previewing the final build of our project. Unlike the development server, it will not watch our files for changes. The URL for the preview server will be different from the development server. Let's check it out. If the browser is offline, enable online mode and refresh the page. Lastly, enable offline mode. Refresh the page. This time, the page works. Keep in mind, the app is not fully functional. Only the JS, CSS, and HTML files are working. Everything else, from images to audio files, is not working. Let's try improving the offline experience in the next set of lectures.